In this video, we're going to talk about the Biden tax plan, or the tax plan that is being proposed by the Democratic Party as they're going to be coming into the White House. Again, I want to talk about also some of the things that relate to real estate in all the videos that I do on my channel. So if this is something that interests you, if you're interested in real estate investing, make sure you watch the whole video, and then don't forget to like. So let's just get started. So this is the Biden plan. So everything I've seen right now on this plan has been, of course, it's been very broad, and there's some specific items here and there. But I want to remind everybody that this plan is just something that they have proposed as part of their platform for being elected. So it doesn't mean that this is actually the plan that will be implemented. There's still a lot of steps that need to happen before this actually becomes a law. Even if you look at the Tax Cut and Jobs Act from Trump, it took him a couple of years to get that approved and passed. So hold your horses, and then just kind of like make sure that you're patient. There's going to be a lot of negotiation that's going to happen, especially as we don't really know exactly who's going to control the Senate. It seems like it's going to be pretty close to a 50-50. And we're still waiting for the Georgia runoff election as I'm recording this, which is scheduled for January 5th. So, there's a lot of uncertainty. It still has to pass, the Senate and Congress. And trust me, a lot of, as we're going through some of the items in that tax plan, you're going to see that even the Democrat would not want to have some of these things implemented. So we're going to talk about them as we go through. The other thing I want to mention is that in general, these things are pretty much out of your control. So there's no reason to really be upset about it or concern yourself too much. The only thing really that you can do is voice your opinion, contact your representative, your senator in your state, and voice your opinion. Let them know what you think about the tax plan and what your concerns are. That's about all you can do. It's going to take its own course, and eventually, in a year or 2 years from now, this is going to be, a form of it is going to be law. So I wouldn't worry too much about it, but we're still going to go through, because as an entrepreneur, we want to kind of be prepared about kind of like some of the concepts or some of the ideas that they are talking about in their tax plan, and maybe some of these ideas will be implemented. Also, a lot of people focus on the tax plan, but the tax plan is just only one aspect of it. The reason why they are trying to get to the taxes is so that they have more money to spend on other things. So, and these other things might help you as an entrepreneur. So don't just look at the taxes and say it's costing me a lot of money. If it helps improve wages and people can afford higher rent and etc., then it might be better overall. Yes, you pay a little bit more taxes, but overall it's you have less vacancy, for example, or you're able to increase your rent and you can actually make a little bit more money. So you have to look at the whole picture. The tax plan is only one piece of the equation. And even when you're looking at the tax plan, you want to look at all the different point of view or perspective that affects you. So for me, when I'm looking at the business, the tax plan, or the economy, or the pandemic, I'm looking at all the constituents of my business that my business relates to. So I'm thinking about my contractor that's doing the renovations on the properties. I'm thinking about the property management. I'm thinking about the tenants. I'm thinking about the sales people that work, the acquisition team that's working for us, all those things combine. And I'm looking at the lender, don't forget the lender, but all those things. So I'm looking at all these things and how they might be impacted, and how they might respond to the situation, whether it's the pandemic or taxes, etc. So you want to make sure that you keep that in mind, and that's going to give you an appreciation for kind of where you want to position yourself. So let's talk about Social Security benefits. So that's the number one item that the Biden tax plan is talking about, that might impact some people. And this is really about the wages that are being deducted as for Social Security through W-2. And basically what they're recommending is they're recommending an increase for everybody making above $400,000 in Social Security. That's the only difference. The Social Security is also a progressive tax, and then it basically went from 12%, and then it stopped at 137,700, so 137,700. After that, you didn't pay zero. Now what they want to do is that these people that are from 137,000 to $400,000, they're still going to pay their 12.4%. They're not going to pay anything else after that except for Medicare. And then after that, after $400,000, then you're going to pay the Social Security payroll tax at a rate of 12.4. So all of those. So that's the only piece that's added in here, is that $400,000 bracket for Social Security. The Medicare rate stays the same for all the tax brackets. Impact to that. So if you have your own, if you're an employer, you're self-employed, then you have to pay, if you're a real self-employed, you have to pay it at $400,000 if you make that kind of revenue. If you have a company, an S Corp, then you have an opportunity to change how you're doing your W-2 and then reduce the amount that you're paying in Social Security. So for example, if you're currently paying yourself more than $400,000 in W-2 through your S Corp, then you may consider kind of shifting and putting a little bit less towards your W-2, and then do more on the as a distribution from S Corp after the fact. All right, next item is the tax bracket for ordinary income. So before Trump, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2018, before that was passed, the tax rate was, for the top earner, was 39.6%. But the Tax Cut Jobs Act actually reduced it to 37%. What the Biden plan is suggesting to do is to bring it back to 39.6, which it was before, and also lower the tax bracket. I think it was like $518,000 to lower it to $400,000. So I think you're already starting to see a theme here, where they're kind of looking at the $400,000 level as kind of like the very top earners, and that these people that are making more than $400,000 in ordinary income would have to pay a little bit more. So that's the theme here. So they're reducing the top bracket for the taxes, the ordinary income taxes, to $400,000, and then increasing potentially that tax rate back to what it was, 39.6, before 2018. The third item is about the limiting the amount of itemized deduction that you can claim. This used to be called a PEACE limitation, which was I think PEACE, P-E-A-S-E, was a senator, I believe, that was a proponent of that. And again, this would, I'm not going to go into the detail of what the formula is like, but it would basically be only 80% of the itemized deductions would be available for incomes above $400,000. You start to see the theme develop here with that $400,000. So that's what they're recommending right now. The number 4 is about long-term capital gains tax. So in this case, they want to tax these long-term capital gains at the ordinary income level. So these ordinary income tax would normally be around 15 to 20%, depending on kind of the amount of capital gains tax that you're claiming that year. And then basically what they want to do, they want to tax it at the ordinary income level for anything above $1 million. So that's what they're going to do. This, I think, is going to be a major issue to get passed through the Senate. There's a couple of issues with that. First of all, and we're going to talk also, there's another topic about that later on when we pass away. But if you look at people on the coast, a house that has more than $1 million in gains tax, if you're going to sell it and all of a sudden having to pay long-term capital gains, that's going to shift quite a lot of, it's going to cause a lot of problems for people that they are relying on the equity in their home to provide for them at retirement. So all of a sudden they're going to have to pay ordinary income tax, like 39.6% of taxes on that instead of the 20% they would pay. So doubling their tax. That's gonna affect mainly people on the West Coast. Imagine people in California that have $2 or $3 million houses with like $1 million in gains or more. You know, that's gonna affect them significantly. Yeah. So I think that's gonna be tough to pass. Honestly. And to go with that, there's the step-up basis for capital gains. So if I own a property and I'm passing it on, I pass away and it gets passed on to my descendant, depending on how the things are structured, there's a step-up basis. So if it's part of a trust, part of an LLC, then automatically at the time that I pass away, the value of the property, the basis of the property gets raised to the market value of the property. So if my descendants want to sell the property at that point, or my wife wants to sell the property, they don't pay any capital gains tax because the basis is the market value and then there's no capital gains. So that's the advantage. They want to eliminate that. So obviously that is going to cause chaos for anybody, any of the senators, House representative who are all old and who have a lot of equity and a lot of properties, and having eliminated that step-up basis is going to cause mayhem. I can't imagine that this would pass the legislature and make it into an actual bill, because everybody's going to have to redo their trust. Everybody's going to have to restructure their legacy to make sure that they minimize taxes. So I don't think so. I don't see it happen. And on top of that, you have the long-term capital gains exemption that you're gonna pay income tax on anything above $1 million. So that's not gonna happen. The other thing that they are doing with this is that where was it? Oh, for that step-up basis. So they want to. It used to be like up to $11.5 million that you didn't have to get taxed on. You were kind of exempt. They want to bring that down to $3.5 million as an exemption for this estate tax. So that's going to be. That's also not going to be a good, that's going to be a flyer on that one. I don't think that anybody in Senate or the House are going to vote for that, for something like this. So, but that's something that they're talking about, right, as part of the tax plan. The next item is, I guess we're at number 7, is about eliminating the 20% QBI deduction. So if you have an S Corp, you were able to pay yourself a W-2, pay taxes, pay your S Corp as well. And then because you were paying some of your wages a certain way, you were able to deduct 20% for QBI. So for the business income. So now they want to phase out this deduction for income above $400,000. Again, that $400,000 is coming up here. Yeah, so that's pretty significant. So a lot of people, so you're gonna have to rethink a little bit, kind of like how your wages in your S Corp and your W-2, how they're gonna work out and how you're gonna pay yourself. So to make sure that you kind of minimize this tax. I think if you're an entrepreneur and you have a good structure, you should be able to work around it, not necessarily eliminate it completely, but minimize the impact. So I don't think it's too big a deal, but Again, I don't know how that would pass, because I think even Biden, I think he was saving millions of dollars by using this very specific deduction. So yeah, interesting. So the next one is the corporate tax rate. So increasing the corporate tax rate to 28% from 21%. Again, this is really corporate, the C Corp kind of level. This is not the S Corp level. So is that going to be a big impact? I don't know. Prior to the Tax Cut and Jobs Act of 2018, that rate was 35%. So under like Obama, for example, it was 35% was the corporate tax. Now they don't even want to bring it back to that. They want to bring it up a little bit, but up to 28%. I think that could pass, but yeah, I think that would be a good one. Mind you, these corporations have a lot of power, so who knows what's going to happen. But typically, it's not going to impact me. It's probably not going to impact most people, except kind of these corporations. Another item is the corporate minimum tax. So they want to have a 15% flat tax for any income in excess of the $100 million. So this is again for corporate minimum tax. So it doesn't apply really to the S Corp or anything like that. But you know, for some of these big corp, it's gonna affect them. And finally, I think that's my item number 10 is a call. They want to remove the 1031 exchange. Again, I can't imagine that this would fly and pass anybody. A lot of these senators, House reps, Republicans, House representatives are, they're invested in real estate. They want to be able to build a legacy for their children, just like everybody else. And this is critical. These, if you don't know, these 1031 exchanges allow you in real estate, if you have an investment property, to basically sell that investment property and kind of like buy a similar investment property, and then just move everything over without paying capital gains tax on the property you just sold by basically rolling it into another investment. This has been around for so long. There's a whole industry around the 1031 exchange. People rely on it and plan for it for retirement and legacy. I can't imagine this would fly, but this is part of their plan. Again, lots of other business taxes that affect the C Corp, not the S Corp. So I'm not even going to worry about it. Some of it is about foreign subsidiaries, so kind of increasing the tax rate again for the people that are bringing revenue back from foreign countries. This was reduced in 2018 to actually help kind of incentivize corporations to repatriate some of these profits into the US and increase investments. I don't know what the impact of that was, but so now they want to bring it back to what it was before that Tax Cut and Jobs Act. In summary, I want to say that so this is just a plan. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. Biden is not even in the White House yet. We don't even know who's going to control the Senate. The House of Representatives is, the Democrats lost a lot of seats in the last election, so it's going to even things out a little bit more than it was prior to the election in November. So it's going to be tight. And some of the changes that he's demanding or he's asking for in the tax plan are, to me, I think they're just not going to fly. Some of the other ones I think is might work and might actually pass. And again, that thing about $400,000. So basically, if you make the $400,000 cut through wages, then you can expect to have pay a little bit more taxes in Social Security, income tax, etc. So that's really the only thing. If you are a real estate investor interested in financial freedom, financial independence, investment in general, make sure you watch the rest of my videos in this channel, and then just like this video if this is something that you found helpful and that you learned something here about the tax plan, and that hopefully I reduced your stress about the tax plan, because it's not going to happen for a while. And just also don't forget to subscribe so that you you are notified when a new video is posted. Thank you.